Welcome to the channel. Finally, welcome to my Scirocco. You've seen on the Facebook page and the YouTube shorts that I've had my Mk2 Scirocco painted and a body kit fitted, a lot of mechanical work done by Rust Republic. Today we finally got some decent weather, so I'm going to take it out and shoot some video, both going through the mechanicals that have been done as well as all the bodywork that was done to get it back onto the road. So we're going to head somewhere a bit better to shoot that video than the driveway. So yeah, hopefully it should be fun. Also on the way over there, I'm going to give you a brief history of the car in my ownership, what we've done to it, what's been mechanically been changed on it, which isn't a lot, and just go through a bit of a brief history. Cheers.
I thought I'd just do a quick run through of my ownership of this car. Might be useful. You get an idea of the reason for all those all the mechanicals that needed to be done. So we've owned the car for about 15 years. Originally it was bought, I worked at a project car. My missus needed a car when she was learning to drive, after she learned to drive. Before she could get insured on, as of then I had a company car. So we bought this. It was not very expensive. I think it was 650 quid, bought on eBay. Back then when you could get a Scirocco with an MOT, reasonable condition, for less than £2,000. Just to go through, so it's 1992 Volkswagen Scirocco Scala injection. The 92 is a run-out model. They didn't make much past 93, so this is effectively an upgraded, a combination of a Scala and a GTX. So it's got GTX interior, GTX engine, but it's got a Scala colour coding, that kind of thing, but not on the rear like Commander. So anyway, we got it 15 years ago for me to learn how to work on cars on, and between then and when it went off the road in 2019, end of 2019, the works that were done on it were minimal. We're talking servicing the car, we're talking changing components out like the alternator packed in, replaced with a second-hand one. A couple of panels have been swapped over. We did some body work to it. Nothing too excessive, nothing major mechanical in 15 years, and it kept on going. I had an MOT on it for all that time. We got to 2019 at Christmas, it started to develop a bit of a misfire. So I did a rotor arm and dizzy cap replacement, and for some reason, I don't know what happened, they set the wrong parts for the start off, the Eurocar parts, but the whole thing's timing just packed in. So it went off the road, the pandemic hit, so I couldn't get a mechanic mate round to come take a look at it. And then it was sawn. MOT went out. In the meantime, I've been in contact with Rust Republic to get it booked in for bodywork. We've been thinking about putting bodywork on this for, I'm going to say, since it was already like 4 or 5 years. And we never got round to it. Family life always got in the way, something else that he paid for, but we got to a point now where, you know what, we have the money set aside, we'll just get on and get it done. Don't get me wrong, the budget rocketed a hell of a lot, as you'll see in the mechanical side of things. The bodywork came in about budget, but the mechanical side went skyward. So they picked it up in March, was it May 2022, and they got it started straight away. Then there was a bit of a delay starting it for a year, which was all agreeable. I wasn't in any particular rush to get it back. We're still in the middle. We're still in a pandemic, and then we decided. So I was in a rush to get the thing back. It was with them. They finally started it in I think it was May this year. And then once they started it, Jesus, they were just running at it, getting this thing done. Between Matt and Ant doing all the body work and Matt doing all the mechanical works, they really put some hours in to get this thing done and get this body kit fitted. In relation to the body kit, when we went in, I explained to the other half that we're going to take the body kit off, windows out, paint job, and she went, well, is there any other body kits that can go back on it? And I said, the chances of you getting a body kit, a complete aftermarket body kit for a Mk2 Scirocco, is virtually impossible. They just don't come up. So I've been involved with these cars for 15 years, and I've only probably seen a complete set once or twice. So I went to prove this to her by doing an eBay search. Guess what turned up on eBay? Complete. Yep, body kit that's currently attached to this car. It was expensive. I didn't pay what they wanted for it. But it was at a body shop over in Leeds, so I went and picked it up. Agreed with and Rusty Public that he'd fit it. It needed quite a bit of work doing to it to get it to fit. It was pretty rough. But we decided that's what we were going to do. So that leads up to pretty much now. Where we've got it back, it's got an MOT on it. That wasn't the original plan. The plan was me to get the car back and then give it an MOT, but mechanical works were so significant that was never going to happen. So we decided to get Rusty Public to MOT it for me as well, so it's complete when it comes back. And it's the best decision I think could have been made for this car. That's a brief history of the car in my ownership, and I'm hoping now just to use and abuse it over the next God knows how many summers going to car shows.
Okay, let's go through the mechanicals. When we first went into Rust Republic, Matt, the mechanic there, did an initial assessment when it was a program, the first one, and the first thing he noticed was the fuel lines need to be replaced. On this car, that's quite a significant piece of work. The fuel lines, with it being injection and one solid pipe that runs from the back all the way to the front, it's about 8 foot long with a load of bends in it. It's also the first bit that's put on in factory when the car's assembled. The result of that is a lot of parts had to be removed, which led to a lot of mechanical works being upgraded. So we're going to start from the back and go forward. So the fuel lines were changed. The rear beam had to be dropped to do that. The rear beam was fully refurbished, powder coated, the anti-roll bars were powder coated, front and rear, all new bushings were added to it, the rear brakes were rebuilt. And the fuel pump, which had been working for 15 years, absolutely fine, turned out wasn't the one for this car and had like a pipe reducer on it. That was replaced. The cover plate for the fuel pump was also knackered, so that was replaced. Moving forward, the gear linkages and bushings were all replaced and all done. Again, to take the fuel lines out, the exhaust had to be dropped. That resulted in finding out that the downpipe had rusted through, so that had to be replaced. The steering rack had to come out. That was completely refurbed because it hadn't been touched since the car was new in 1992. That was also upgraded to allow for dual ends adjustment, track rod ends. Lower control arms were changed. All the brake lines were replaced throughout the car, and that resulted in the master cylinder being replaced as well. Everything to do with that was replaced because it was all leaking. The alternator packed in, that needed replacing. The brake calipers at the front were replaced. They were very tired, and both of the bleed nipples had seized, so it was cheaper and quicker just to replace them, so they were replaced. It's also had a partial service as well, so can you imagine? I will mention the front anti-roll bar was also refurbed. So all in all, this has had a hell of a lot of mechanical work done to it. Nothing had been done in 15 years that I've owned it, so all this was going to happen at some point. So that's the mechanical side of it. Let's just put it this way: there was £1,200 worth of just parts on this because everything that had gone wrong with it. But it's back together, it drives amazingly well, and they decided they would put it through its MOT because, to be fair, there was not a lot else that needed to be done to get through an MOT other than the engine packing in. Everything was virtually new. That's where we are with the mechanicals. What we'll do now is I'll just swing around and we'll go through the bodywork and what's done on that. Okay, let's go through what was done on this car to get the body kit fitted. So, we'll go through the body kit in a second, but there was a rust patch on the bottom of the sill that needed to be done. There was an existing repair that was done through here about 6-7 years ago that needed to have some work done to it to bring it back up. This door had been stripped because there's a couple of scabs on it. This wing was a replacement wing because mine had a massive big dent in this corner. The bonnet had some previous repairs on it, so that was redone. Front valance was made good. It's not great, but you can't see it behind this kit, so it didn't need replacing. This wing had a repair just on this leading edge, and that was fine. This door was completely stripped. This was a replacement door that I did, that I got and repainted. But the scabs were coming through on this big section of this side panel, so that was completely stripped back and redone. This arch had a repair panel at the top, as well as a repair on the back of the sill. The roof had a couple of dents repaired and lifted. The back, there was a couple of patch repairs on the boot lid, and the rear valance was completely replaced with a new one. So that's the extent of the bodywork that was done to it. It was pretty minimal considering this car's over 30 years old. The body kit. So when we got it, it was pretty rough. It had been previously fitted and there was drill holes in all of the arches to get to the rivets on the previous car. This has been bonded on and then screwed, and then it's got clamps underneath it. It was pretty rough, even though it had come from a body shop originally. They just stripped it off, so it did need quite a bit of work by Ant to get this thing to fit properly. I think it fits really, really well. The only thing I had him to modify was on the back. The original kit comes with a single hole for the exhaust. I really like my twin exhaust, so I had him modify the kit to take a twin exhaust, which I think makes it look a lot better. So, one other thing he had to do, let's go around the front. The BBS kit doesn't have a number plate recessed number plate on, so Ant made me up some brackets which bolt to the front valance underneath the bumper, so we can have a number plate on the front. That is my Scirocco BBS. Quick walk around. Say the mechanicals were quite extensive. The bodywork came in pretty much on budget, with the only real issue being the extra to do the back and the body kit, which was a little bit more time consuming. But obviously you can imagine putting the original kit back on it. So that's what around the car. There will be some updates to it. The headlights, I've got the originals. I've got some air intakes replaced in the headlights. Probably going to fit those. We'll see what they look like. I'm not too sure. The stereo is going to have a bit of an update. It's got an Alpine head unit cassette with a 60 multi-changer, subwoofer in the boot, and 6B9s in the back. I've got a graphic equalizer to fit, which will make that work a bit better. It'll also look really cool in the desk. It all lights up. I might change the subwoofer in the boot to an Alpine 12-inch tube type, I'm thinking. And that'll just get a tidy up. The center console is going to have an update because that is needed. It's a bit tight. It's got some dials in there and they could do being replaced. So I'm just glad that this thing's back on the road and looking pretty damn good. It's booked in for a few shows next year. I hope you've enjoyed having a walk around it. Cheers. Just got back from a good run around after shooting the videos and photos, and I just wanted to add to the end of this that this car wouldn't be this car without Rust Republic and the work of Ant doing all the body work and Matt doing all the mechanical work. Without those two, this car would not be here at the moment. Just big thank you to both of those and the work that's been done there. It hasn't been easy, I'm aware of that. There's lots of things I need doing on this car that wasn't anticipated at the start, particularly with Ant just wrestling the body kit to get it to fit. As well as it does, this kit's been stored flat, and there's the cat on my louver, the little git. Anyway, the kit was been stored up in a loft. It'd been on a shelf. It was flat. It needed reforming to get it to shape, and he's done just a miracle of a job to get the thing to fit. The paint is just incredible. I just wanted to add that on the end of this because so this isn't. I've not built this car. Rust Republic built this car for me to this point. I'll do some bits to it from now on, but primarily this car was built by Rust Republic. I just wanted to acknowledge that this is their hard work. Thanks for watching.